Hello, hello, hello there. I hope you're doing well. So, I'm doing a little recording first and foremost to show you the exact tool that I have used in order to make the right change within my career, not just once, twice, but multiple times over. And this particular tool I've always used as my guiding North Star or my compass in order to help me make sure that the shift that I make within my career is in alignment first and foremost with myself and that it will create a beautiful happiness. So before I get into the tool, I just want to talk about first and foremost, what does being in your sweet spot of your career look like? Well, for me, it's about getting up each and every day, really excited for what the day will bring. It's about enabling me to, doesn't matter how many hours I work, I'm fully in flow. But not only that, for me, it's about that I feel like I'm contributing to something that fulfills me and sustains me and gets me excited, whatever it is that I'm doing to go for the day, the month, the year. And that's what it looks like for me to be in my so-called sweet spot in my career. And I've been in that sweet spot many times in my career. One example was when I first started working in laboratories. I was learning all about new techniques and I was contributing to a much greater good. Another one for me when I was in my sweet spot was contributing to a vision, and that vision being an engagement to create a long-term vision for the Geelong region. And you find me in my sweet spot now, which is coaching people and enabling them to break through their own limitations so that they can live their best life and live in their own success. So those are different small examples of what it looks like just for me to live in my sweet spot. Before I turn to the tool, I want you to pause this recording and I want you to think about when in your life have you lived in your sweet spot? What does it look like? How do you feel when you live in your sweet spot? What does it look like? How do you feel? Pause it now and come back. All right, now let's dive into the exact tool that has helped me get into my sweet spot multiple times in my career. And it's a really, really simple tool that anyone can use, but it does take time to learn it. So that is the sweet spot here. It literally is called the sweet spot. Now, the idea being that you need three things in order to live in your sweet spot. And those three things need to be all of them. The first one is purpose, and I'll go into a bit more of that in a moment. The second one is strengths or your gifts. And the third one is passions. And the idea being that is if you live in your purpose, you're working to your strengths and you're working with your passions or what you're excited about, you therefore live in your sweet spot. So, first and foremost, what is purpose? Purpose is really nothing more than something that you care about, something that you feel is bigger than yourself. Now, purpose is articulated wholly and solely by you. And I'll talk a little bit further about purpose in a moment. The other thing is about purpose is if you're sitting there going, well, I don't know what my purpose is. This is a massive question. Look first and foremost to your passions. What do you like to do? What is it that you like to achieve? And passions often drive purpose. And then, of course, we have our strengths. Now, there's a few things about this sweet spot. You, for example, may live a life solely just in your strengths. And if you lived in your strengths, you would live a life that's often frustrated. If you were to live a life or a career solely in your passions, potentially you could be self-indulgent. Now, if you were in purpose alone, you would be self-sacrificing. Then you might go, you know what? What if I just have two of these? Two of these is surely enough. Like that, that is exactly what I'd aim for. What if I was to work in potentially purpose and strengths? Well, unfortunately, because it's not your passion, you end up being disengaged. You might go, well, you know what? What about purpose and passions? Surely that is the magic ingredient. And unfortunately, you end up being disappointed. And the reason why you end up being disappointed is you're constantly trying to get things done and it's just not happening for you. You're not succeeding. But then you go, well, surely passions and strengths, that is the one. And you actually start to feel unappreciated. And it's only through these three together, when you have all three, is you get this wonderful fulfillment. But the thing is, you go, all right, well, that's all fine and good. How do we actually bring this to practice? What does this actually look like? Okay, I get it. If I'm just working in with my strengths, I will feel frustrated. And I've felt that too. So throughout neuroscience, when I originally started with purpose and passion and strength, um, I I ended up with just strength at the end of it because I'd lost my purpose and I'd lost my passion. And I ended up getting quite frustrated. I've worked in data analytics, and that myself was really just in my strengths, not really purpose or passionate about. And I ended up being pretty frustrated day in, day out. So how do we bring all of this together? How do you actually find a way whereby you can be in your sweet spot? How do we bring this to life? And it's really easy. So what I want you to do now is I want you to start to fill in the circles. So an example being in here is if you go, what is it that I'm good at? What is it that I can do that is better than what other people can do? What are my special gifts? What can I do? And as you've already heard, part of mine is an analysis. So spend a moment just starting to write out all of your strengths, what you're good at. Example for me is analysis. Another one is people. I'd like to think that I get on well with people. I can uplift people. I can help people have new insights. Another one is that I can bring really complex materials and I can simplify it. So I just call this an integrative ability. I love wealth creation, and I think I'm good at wealth creation. And I think that I know a fair bit about property because I've studied it. I'm good at strategy because that's been one of my careers. And so you just sit there and go, well, what are all the good things that you're good at? I like to think that I'm creative, and that's a strength as well as for me as well. Now I want you to think about your passions. What is it that you're passionate about? What do you love to do? So once again, I love property. I love people. People really drive me. I love seeing people getting results. I love making a difference. I love property as well. And I love exercising. And I love workshopping and facilitation. Now, there's many more that I can add in, but this just gives you an idea. So I want you to think about what it is that you're passionate about. What is it that you love to do? What is it that when you get excited, you get really excited, and it doesn't matter whether you're doing it for 5 minutes or 5 hours, you're just completely in flow. Now, as I said before, passions drive purpose. And so you can then therefore start to look at, well, what of these can start to drive a purpose, something bigger than myself? Now, purpose for me has always been focused around people. And purpose is really about you defining what it is that you find important to yourself. So when I first started in neuroscience, it was really focused around making a difference. However, what I found was that in neuroscience, there is a lag between when you start to do something and 20 years down the track. So what I found that this purpose was not driving me enough. There needed to be more with this purpose. And I realized that there was potentially a time element to it. So it was around having an impact more so today. And that starts to describe how I lost my zest for neuroscience because this making a difference was no longer driving me, and I needed to have an impact each and every day that I worked and what that looked like. So you can start to see why and how I started to change out of neuroscience. This having an impact each and every day was great. It helped to sustain me and started to move me a little bit more, even at the time I was in analysis. And you can see that there wasn't really a purpose to the analysis, but really is having an impact each and every day. It was really focused around the community vision when I switched into that career and the workshopping and the facilitation. And you can see how this was then has now started to move into the coaching to the point now, my purpose is around enabling others to live their best life. And you can see, therefore, the evolution of a purpose from something that's really simple, like just make a difference each and every day, to having an impact, to enabling others to live their best life. You can start to see the evolution that by starting to focus on these components, first and foremost purpose, it evolves through to something much more tangible. And so for me, to enable others to live their best life, that takes in the creativity of myself, the analysis, people, integrative, bringing big concepts, being able to put it in front of you into a really easy to digest manner, wealth creation, property and strategy, property, people, results, making a difference, exercising. I don't necessarily have that in my career, but I do certainly make sure that I do regular exercise and facilitation. You'll see me in my sweet spot. So I want you to sit down and look at, what are your strengths? What are you passionate about? What is your purpose? And from those components and those building blocks, what could lead you to your sweet spot? What could lead you to your career sweet spot, whereby you wake up each and every day happy, fulfilled, wanting to do more, wanting to make a difference, and just really in flow with your life. If you're interested in learning more, keep following me on LinkedIn, Insta, or Facebook, or reach out and make a call with me today. Bye for now.